God, great start. And we are live. It's Christmas time. We're all having fun. We've got Bish has got best Christmas jumper. I couldn't find one of mine, so I've got a lovely Coca-Cola Christmas top. Holidays are coming. Bish is that a Rams one, Bish?
It's the Rams. I'm ready for tonight. Thursday night football against the Saints. I'm ready to go.
Predictions, Bish. I know obviously this won't be coming out before, but for what you're thinking?
It's a big game. We actually got. I think we're -4 favourites. So at home, yeah, I think we come up with a good. Saints are they're a decent team, but they've played a fairly easy schedule up to date. So I think at home, I think we'll have enough. Again, another Kyron Williams big game coming, and hopefully a Rams victory and one step further to cementing that one of those playoff spots.
Yeah, I think we're all excited for the Rams. Bish, I can say I can't wait for Kyron Williams to get me 2 or 3 touchdowns tonight and just get my week and fantasy competition against Tiger on the road. So yeah, on to the games, the weekend games, Bish. I think there's some crackers. To be honest, I've stayed away from the Detroit-Minnesota one, but what an interesting game that will be. I'm excited to watch that one. I've not got a bet down for it, to be honest with you. But like you said, the Bucks. There's a lot of playoff teams that are got important games that they need to win, and I think we've probably had a bet on quite a few of them here, Bish. So we've got a lot to get through. But how are you doing? And I guess Merry Christmas. Sorry, I'm ranting, but Merry Christmas.
Yeah. Merry Christmas. and what a start it's been. Confident. We both had a great week last week, and hallelujah, I'm finally above water. I'm 1.5 units up on the year, 3.5% ROI. And I've got Matthew Stafford to thank for that. So, yeah, 2 out of 3 last week. Montgomery and Gibbs on the rushing line came in pretty easy in that heavy win against the Broncos. And then the Rams over 27.5 and Stafford 1.5 passing touchdowns as well. So, yeah, great start. And Joe, you had a big win as well on the old Bet365.
Yeah, I'm waiting for the message. I'm waiting for the email, Bish. I don't know whether it's got lost or we've got it out there. We might have to start putting our email in because I'm waiting for the sponsorship now. I've landed about 3 in the last 5 or 6 weeks. I'm not landing I'm not getting the 2s or 3s consistently, but I'm actually landing some good odds. Like obviously Christian McCaffrey, 150 plus rushing and receiving yards combined, and to score 2 or more touchdowns. And yeah, he did it. He did it comfortably. Got 3 touchdowns in the end, and got 200 plus, I think, combined. So what a game for McCaffrey. So yeah, we're both flying. I think the odds on that were about 5-1, Bish. So I'm not bothered about the other 2 losing. You know what I mean? We're happy. I'm in a great mood. But yeah. Take us into it, Bish. Take us into your first bet, because I love them today, and let's get into it.
My first one, and one I jumped out to me straight away, if I'm honest. It's the Colts money line I've gone for. They're up against the Falcons here. Evens for those decimal backers, it's 2.0 there. That's what I mostly bet in decimals. So yeah, for the fractions guys, it's evens. Even money on the money line for them. And they're actually the second form team in the comp at the minute behind the 49ers. The 49ers are 6-0 since week 9, and the Colts are 5-1. So they're on a hot streak. They've won 5 of the last 6, sitting at 8-6 record, and holding on to a playoff spot at the minute, 7th seed. But also it's neck and neck in the AFC South. Same wins as the Jags and the Texans. So all to play for. And they're on the up a little bit, as I've just said. Jonathan Taylor's sort of trending that he could possibly make it back for this week. The only doubt really is Michael Pittman Jr., who was in concussion protocol, but I checked just before we came on, and he was limited in training yesterday. So obviously there's hoops you've got to jump through there with concussions, but that's positive signs early on in the week. And they're winning games by mainly keeping it tight and relying on the defense at times here. Apart from last week they had a big blowout game against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Gardner Minshew throwing 3 touchdowns, but it's the defense that's been keeping games tight and sort of leading from the front really. You know, they're ranked 3rd in sacks on 46 on the year, and also interceptions, 15 interceptions on the year as well. So they're really turning the ball over and helping their offense win games here. So, and again, against the Falcons, I'm out on the Falcons now. I've tried at multiple times this year to try and get behind them. A young team with some great weapons, but it's just not happening. Whether that's the coach, whether it's some naivety, I still don't think they've got the quarterback right. And again, they've changed the quarterback this week. Tyler Heineke comes in at quarterback this week, and after that 9-7 loss to the Panthers last week, yeah, it's I'm against them now. So I was against betting against the Panthers last week, and now it's the Falcons' turn. So the one start Heineke's had this year, where he played 100% snap, was against the Vikings, and he threw an interception. So this Colts defense is going to get after him, and I think there's errors to be had there. So at even money, yeah, I like the Colts here.
I've got to be honest with you, Bish. All logic dictates you're completely right, and I'm same as you, completely out on the Falcons. I bet them quite a few times this year, along with Pittsburgh, and they've both been probably my biggest losers on the year. But I'm very scared of the Falcons. It's the bogey team. They win. They do tend to win these games that they think they should lose. Or it's trending down. We can finally say goodbye to the playoffs for the Falcons, and they just seem to sometimes pull off close games or even wins against teams like this. The Colts have been flying, so I'm nervous. And I also don't mind Taylor Heineke as a quarterback, Bish. To be honest, I know he's not anything outstanding, but at time at Commanders, he is a gung-ho quarterback. He does go and play. And it scares me, to be honest. Like I said, I'm totally with all your logic, but the Falcons, I do not trust either way to lose or to win. Arthur Smith's going to give the ball to everyone but Bijan and Kyle Pitts, and somehow pull off a close game. I can feel it, but hopefully the Colts get the win here and comfortably dictate that they are into the play, getting in pretty much close to confirming that playoff spot, and they can do it. It's a big test for them, to be honest with you, Bish. I think not that the Falcons are amazing, but it's a team you want to beat at this stage now. The Falcons have proved that they're not up there, proved that they play a slow type of football, and at this stage, you normally get figured out. Defenses get studied enough that they get figured out, and they tail off. As I say, I get nervous with the Falcons because whatever I believe they do the opposite.
Yeah, to be fair, the Falcons are still in with a chance. That they're 6-8 on the year, chasing the Bucs and the Saints, who are only one win ahead of them. So they've still got a chance of trying to nick one of those spots. But for me, they're in the same ballpark as the Chargers. Like you said, they keep games tight, but I just think they'll, in the end, the play calling, not giving your best, player on the field the ball. It just, for me, it's just not. We'll go against them in the end.
I hope so, Bish, and I'm all for you. And there's nothing I would be happier to see than the Colts just wipe the Falcons apart, and we can get a completely new Falcons next year that at least plays fun football. So I'm with you. I'm just, like you said, slightly apprehensive because I know what they're like, and they're definitely a bogey team of the punt of the show. They are a bogey team. But I'll take you on to my first one, Bish. The odds on this aren't brilliant, actually. It's a very safe one for me. I saw the stats, but it's Travis Kelce over 60.5. I've wrote rushing yards. That shows brilliant again. I'll take that off for a second. It's Travis Kelce over 60.5 receiving yards and Patrick Mahomes. Let's see.
I'll just get up I'll look at some stats. Yeah, it's the Christmas Day game as well, isn't it? I think
the Christmas Day game. Travis Kelce over 60.5 receiving yards and Patty Mahomes over 266.5 passing yards. I was going to start on Travis Kelce, but I'm going to start on Patrick Mahomes here because some of the stats against the Raiders, this is his team. We talk about matchups and historical performances. He's actually had over 3,338 passing yards, 29 touchdowns and only 3 interceptions in 11 games versus the Raiders in his career. So this is his team. This is the team he loves to beat down on and he loves to take apart. Moving on to Travis Kelce, he's obviously had a bad week last week. Only got 5 receptions on 7 targets with 28 yards. Other than that, though, the 3 weeks prior against Buffalo, Green Bay, and the Raiders again, he got 91 yards, 81 yards, and 83 yards. So I think as long as he hits his form again, and knowing Kelce, he definitely will. New England are good. What New England are good at defense traditionally, and why he maybe had a bad game is because they're good at actually getting one player and getting rid of them and taking them out of the matchup. It's what Bill Belichick's known for on his defense. The Raiders aren't known for this, and I think he's going to definitely have a bounce back game and probably over his average, which is over 60.5 receiving yards. I thought that was pretty low. And as I said, only 4 weeks ago, he got 91 yards against them. So Patrick Mahomes having a typical game against the Raiders and Kelce to bounce back and get over his average yards in receiving is my bet. It's only 9-5, so get more on it. I think it's a pretty safe one. All the stats are suggesting it should be good. Rashee Rice is standing up, so that at least got someone else to pass it to. And I think these two are going to have a very fun game and prove to people and myself on what I've said in previous shows that they are playoff bound and they're going to make a big impact, of course, into the playoffs because of the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah, and I'm behind you. If I'm honest, I just had a quick look. They played each other in week 12, and Kelce got 91, as you spoke about there, and Mahomes threw for 298. So he's comfortably both over on the last performance. And now playing them at home, you'd like to think they'd be similar. Obviously, a divisional game, so they know each other quite well. Raiders bouncing after that massive win against the Chargers, so I think it adds a bit more to that game, and potentially it being the Chiefs needing to find something to win it, which obviously leans into the Mahomes and the passing yard. So yeah, it's I like it. Yeah. It comes across as one of my sort of bets. I think it would qualify for one of mine, but in the odds and the odds range. So yeah, no, I think it's a good bet to get going, and a nice one on Christmas Day as well.
Exactly. Yeah, I wanted one safe one in there because I've been struggling for my safe bets. I've been landing everything all around. I thought, let's get one in. That's the one. I went through all my research and I couldn't be more confident about this one. Them 2 lines alone, they're obviously Vegas and the ones who do the bets are seeing something that I haven't seen, and traditionally the Chiefs haven't shown in that it might be a lower game for these two, but I don't see it. I think they're both at it, and it might be they've read into last week a bit too much. So yeah, I'm all behind this one. Let's get your money on and have a good Christmas Day, earn yourself some of them money back that you've spent on presents.
Yeah, nice.
Take us through your second bet, Bish.
My second one is the Buccaneers over 20.5 team points and Baker Mayfield over 1.5 passing touchdowns. And this is coming off the back of the success I had last week with the Rams. And I'm just looking at this matchup against the Jags, and my first thought was points here. 2 very poor pass defenses. I look at it and just think, yeah, the only thing we've got to look at is Trevor Lawrence. He did come out of the game with concussion late in the fourth quarter, so that's why I've just stepped away from the overs and involving the Jags, and I'm just looking at the Bucs here really. Currently 7-7, sat first in the NFC South, with the Saints on the heels, so this is a big game for them. But just as I talked about there, looking at the Jags, they averaged 22 points against, which is a middle of the pack for the NFL this year. And this line, in looking at both in terms of form, it's hit in the last 3 of the Bucs. They've hit over 20 and a half points. They've hit 21 at least points in the last 3, which have all been wins. And the Jags, it's hit in the last 4 games. 3 of them have all been losses for the Jags. So I'm pretty confident here that the Bucs can pretty much smash this the way they've been going on. And just onto the Baker 1.5 touchdown passes. I think they've found their identity a little bit now. You know, they struggled. They tried to run the ball earlier on in the year. I think they found out that they're a pass-first team, really. They're pass-first, and that sort of sets things up. You know, Mike Evans has always been very good all year. Chris Godwin, I think we spoke about him maybe 3 weeks ago. You know, I think his wife said something about him not having any receptions. And then last week was his breakout game. He had a massive game. So I just think it's coming. You know, against the Jags, quarterbacks have hit at least 2 touchdowns the last 4 out of 6 games. And Baker in his last 6 has hit this line 4 times as well. So I think it's coming. As I said, both teams are bad against the pass. The Jags ranked 29th. The Bucs are 31st. So, you know, I'd say if anybody wanted to add on to this, if we wait and see what T-Law's up to, if he does play, I think we can have a field day, and this will be a good one on Red Zone. But for me, I'm just sticking with the Bucs over 20.5 team points and Baker Mayfield over 1.5 passing touchdowns.
I love it, Bish. I think, as you'll see, I'm more behind the Buccaneers. That's to come. But yeah, I'm with you on this one. I'm all behind the Bucs. Baker's been brilliant the last couple of weeks. Buccaneers, like I said, have really started to figure it out. They look convincing when they play now. I know that's not the best analogy to use, but I'm getting more convinced that they can make a dent in the playoffs and at least have a good game and not get blown out. I think they are playoff worthy. And behind Baker, they're discussing maybe giving him a new contract. There's a load of things going on in the news, and it could solidify that call to get him a new contract by the fans by having another great game here against the Jags, who, as you said, the Jags are getting a few injuries. Whether T-Law plays, again, be a massive difference. But yeah, more behind you, Bish. That's all I can say, really.
Nice, yeah. I think it'll be a good one to watch.
Definitely. If T-Law plays, yeah. I'll take you through my one. I'm not using a Bet365 treble this week, Bish. I'm staying away from the treble until they come at us again. I'll bring it back, but I've got my own treble. I've got the Joe Christmas treble of nice. 3 teams who I think are going to win on the money line. Taking odds out of it, so that's why I'm putting 3 together. I've got the Green Bay Packers to win. I've got the New York Jets to win, and I've got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers on the back of your amazing bet as well. That just to give it more confident, I've got a good treble here, and I think all 3 are going to win. Packers are against the Carolina Panthers. Pretty safe bet, I'd say. Packers do have play bad against the bad teams. That's the one worry I'll put out there. With the Panthers winning last week, definitely a worry, but the Packers definitely need to have a good week. Jordan Love's a good quarterback. I do believe in him. And I just don't think the Panthers have enough. They beat Atlanta with 9 points. There's no way the Packers put down a score that low. I think the Panthers will have to match the Packers' offensive and wide receiver matchup toe for toe. Aaron Jones is getting healthier week on week, even though he's not had a good year, as we've discussed. But he's had an injury-riddled year, but he's had a couple of weeks now that he's getting into it. And then wide receivers, I think Christian Watson should be back, but check the news. It'll help if he is back. Is that right, Bish?
I'm not sure. I've not looked, to be honest.
I've just chucked you a random Christian Watson question.
Yeah, I'll have a look.
I think he should be coming back. If he's not, it might. I don't think it will change it. I think the Panthers have to go toe for toe, and I think the Packers will do this one. We've got the Jets versus the Washington Commanders. The Commanders have completely collapsed the past couple of weeks. Really struggling. Obviously, since they traded them defensive ends, the pair of them that we spoke about earlier, that made no sense. They've got to find something to make major changes. The Jets' defense is one of the best defenses in the league. It's actually been the most, in turn, we love our fantasy. They're the second highest fantasy scorers on the team are the Jets' defense. In behind Breece Hall, so a bit of an interesting one, but they've been, it's a juicy matchup. If Sam Howell does play, they'll have a few interceptions, and I think they'll just drown the game out. And hopefully Breece Hall can run the ball and go against a Commanders defense that ranks 32nd in the league. It's the worst defense in the league. So if Jets don't have any sort of performance, it's going to be against the Washington Commanders on offense. And then finally, as you discussed there, Bish, we've got Tampa Bay against the Jaguars. You're with Tampa Bay. I'm with Tampa Bay. We're all with Tampa Bay. Let's bring home a great Christmas and get on a good treble. All quite safe, but that's why I put them in a treble. And let's have some fun and watch a few games and have a. I think around Christmas, Bish, I'm excited about watching. Obviously, always excited about watching all the games, but I want a bit of. I want a bit of taste in every game. You know what I mean? I want something on the line for all the game. I've got nothing on, nothing else to occupy your mind. I'll have a couple of presents over Christmas Eve. I'll be with my dad. We'll be having fun, and hopefully I can get all the games on and have a bit of a stake in all of them and get a good win on your Christmas Eve and Christmas Day.
Yeah, nice. And I can't argue really. As you said, I just had a quick check. Watson is not in training just yet, so I think he'll have a couple more sessions to see if he can make it. But whether he's in or not, whether he's in or out, we've spoke about the Panthers. They barely score over 13 points. Averaging 1 touchdown a game. So I think they're going to need a lot more than that to compete with the Packers. So I expect the Packers to do a number on them there. Really. Again, we're speaking about Commanders. I actually think if they go with Howell, I think this is pretty safe. I actually think though, if in the Rams game last week, they brought in Brissett towards the end, and he looked half decent. He found Terry McLaurin, they jagged a couple of touchdowns back, and made it a bit tough for the Rams at the end. So if Brissett gets a look in this game, that could be interesting. But again, you'd like to think the Jets defense sort of handles that as they've done all year. And the Bucs, it's I think it's all based on Trevor Lawrence. If I'm honest, if he misses, I think they're strong favourites for a reason here. And the Jags have been on a bit of a slump at the minute, so yeah, it could be a good time to strike them.
Yeah, it's like I said, I'm excited. It should be 3 good games. Well, the Jets and Commanders one, actually. It should be 2 good games and 1 interesting game. Who's the worst team in the league behind Carolina, the Jets or the Commanders? And then hopefully the Packers can rout. I'm obviously a Packers fan, so I'm hoping they'll bring me a brilliant Christmas Eve, 6 o'clock game, and we can have some fun. And then the other 2 are both on Christmas Eve. Actually, I said Christmas Day earlier. They're both on Christmas Eve. The Jets is also at 6, and the Buccaneers is on at 9 o'clock Christmas Eve. Get you whatever your beverage of choice is, whatever food you have on Christmas Eve, and go watch the Buccaneers bring home me and Bish a very good bet.
I like it.
Take us through your last one, Bish.
My third bet, it's Justin Fields over 56.5 rushing yards along with a touchdown. And just for the quarterbacks here, it's a rushing touchdown that I'm after from Justin Fields. And I think it's a big game for Justin Fields, if I'm honest. There's a lot of talk of the Bears. Obviously, they own the Panthers' number 1 pick at the minute. Caleb Williams is the hot quarterback, fresh out of college, who will go 101. Just who to is the question, really. So he's under a bit of pressure, I think, just to prove himself a little bit. And Cardinals, the second worst against the run here, the 31st against the run. And what does Justin Fields do? He runs the ball. So I think it's a perfect matchup. The last 4 games since week 11, since he's been back, he's been the lead rusher for the team each week. He's covered this line in 3 out of 4 games, and he's got 1 touchdown in those 4 games as well. So the only one he didn't cover was the Browns last week, where he only got 30 yards. But I'm pretty confident here. The last, just touching on the Cardinals defense, as I said, the 31st ranked, give up close to 140 yards a game, and in the last 4, the minimum they've given up to a team is 111 yards. That was to the Texans. To the Steelers and the 49ers, they gave up over 120. And then the Rams, well, it was an early Christmas for them a month ago. They gave up 228 rushing yards to the Rams. Kyron Williams had nearly 100 and... Oh, he might have had 200, actually. Yeah, I think he had a hell of a lot of rushing yards there. So I just think this is a perfect matchup for Fields. He loves to run the ball. I've thrown that touchdown in there just in case he can nick one, just for the value. Like we just said there, Christmas Eve, nice value. I'm above water now, so I can flex a little bit and relax. So I like this matchup, and as I said, it's a massive prove it game. So Justin Fields on the over 56.5 rushing yards and a rushing touchdown as well.
I think something that backs you up here, Bish, and it's actually on the other end of the table, is that the Bears' defense is much improved after the bye. I think we've discussed it before, and that just if a defense is doing well, it loosely translates to more rushing the ball because you can slow the game down, you can comfortably ease out the game, and if Justin Fields sets off early and gets going and gets a touchdown or two up, you'd be more than confident this is going in, because they're not a big play team, Chicago. Like you said, it's a lot of rushing. The pass catchers, I don't know. I don't think they're super deep threat. They're more route runners. It's a slow brand of football they play, with Justin Fields just rocking, and the defense is now matching. And I think you mentioned, how many touchdowns has he had this year, Bish?
He's not had many because he's been out injured, but I think he's only on 2. But he scored 1 in the last 4 since he's been back from injury. And I think he got 1 earlier on in the season. But he is, like I said, he's the lead rusher. He takes the most carries in the team. Yeah. He makes the most yards apart from last week. So obviously the big one is the touchdown. I'm just hoping maybe they can get close. He can do the play action and get over. Maybe he throws one to DJ Moore and he gets caught just short, something like that. But yeah, I think that's the gamble. I'm pretty confident on the rushing. It's just the touchdown.
Yeah, so I think that's what makes the bet, isn't it? And I think with the rushing game, it does project for him to have a lot of rushing yards. You never know. It only takes, if you see him stop in the red zone pretty close to the line, the 1 to 5, I was going to say meters, but away from the line, I think you're pretty confident. And Justin Fields go over. He'll be wanting some touchdowns. Like I said, he's been injured. Let's get him a touchdown, and I think he's comfortably over that rushing yards with the matchup projection. To be honest with you, Bish. So let's hope we see it on red zone and we get a Justin Fields TD. I'm pretty confident on them rushing yards, though.
Let's hope.
Right, Bish, I've got the final one. It's a steady one. I've done a lot of these year, and it's been my most successful bet. I've got a handicap Seahawks of -2.5 and the game versus the Titans to be over 41.5 points. The reason I've gone with this one is because I really do like the Seahawks to beat the Eagles last week. They're on a high. They're actually one of the most competitive teams against the 49ers, against the healthy 49ers. I think that was the most competitive game I've seen against them. Or out of the teams that probably aren't in that top 2 or 3 ranking. They did well against the Cowboys, but they obviously lost. But they're in there they go toe for toe. That offense for the Seahawks. Geno Smith's upped his game from the first month or 2 of the season. And I think the Seahawks beat the Titans very comfortably here. The Titans are all over the place. They Will Levis and Derrick Henry can't seem to get going if they don't take an early lead. I don't think they're taking an early lead here. They've got good cornerbacks to the Seahawks. They do struggle a bit on some parts of the defense, but I think the Seahawks can match them on offense toe for toe and have way too much for them. -2.5 gives me a field goal range. So that's all I need for the win anyway. I think they comfortably win. And in the last couple of weeks, they didn't hit this line versus the Eagles, but I don't think they had to. It was a slow game. Both were rushing the ball a lot. They did against the 49ers, and they did against the Cowboys, and they did against the 49ers the week before that one. So I think they can, as long as it's not a really slow game. But I think they'll get ahead early here, Bish, and Tennessee will be forced to throw, and I reckon there'll be a few points scored, and hopefully it's more. I think the over is more on Tennessee matching the Seahawks than anything. I like them. I think they're getting going, and they're again another team that has got massive playoff hopes and implications if they get a comfortable win here. So yeah, the over's my worry. Seahawks to beat the Tennessee Titans at a -2.5 odds. Only needs a field goal. Let's have it.
Yeah, I like this. The Seahawks -2.5. I think that's a good bet. As you just said there, that they've the step up against the better teams, the Seahawks. I think I don't think this is one of those occasions, but I just think they'll be too good. Like you said, a win last week. Tennessee struggling to beat a CJ Stroudless Texans last week. Lost in overtime. Somehow was in perfect control of that game and lost it. So, and Will Levis has not trained all week as well at quarterback. So we potentially could. It depends where they go. Do they go with the experience of Ryan Tannehill, or do they just call it a day and write off on the season? And maybe we see Malik Willis, which if we do, I think falls into the Seahawks routing them really. If Tannehill comes in, I'm not sure what to expect from Tannehill, if I'm honest. He's steady away, but I expect the Seahawks to blitz him here. For the overs, we probably do want to see Will Levis, like you talked about. He does throw the ball around, but I'm liking Julian Love at the minute for the Seahawks. Couple of interceptions against the Eagles, and potentially we could see some points scored by the Seahawks defense as well, which helps for that overs here.
I like it, yeah. A bit nervous about it, like you said. Tennessee of all over the place, but hopefully, yeah. To be fair, Malik Willis is a running back. I'd prefer to see. I'd like to see Tannehill over Willis, but we'll for this bet alone, I think Tannehill will be safe if it only takes the Titans here to get 14 to 20 points, which is 1 or 2 touchdowns. It's not the biggest ask. Seahawks hopefully get in the high 20s and can comfortably cover this line.
Let's go.
The last one, Bish, take us through it. We've got the man himself. You give us the stats and the fun story here, but I'll load it up on the screen.
Yeah, we've got Tag's touchdown treble, and for those that have been with us since we started, this was the start for Tag. The games before Christmas, he hit, I believe it was 23-1, and he's had 2 big winners last year: 23-1, 17-1, and for the Christmas treble is combined winners from there to come up with his 3 this week. And as you can see on the screen there, it's Derrick Henry of the Titans, TJ Hawkinson of the Vikings, and Mike Evans of the Bucks. You can get various prices on that, but the one that we've got is there 13.5-1 for the Christmas. Hopefully, like you said, a nice win. Christmas Eve will set you off lovely for Christmas Day. So we're looking for a repeat from last year, and just looking at the games, we've spoke about Mike Evans for the Bucks coming up against the Jags. They're ranked 29th against the pass, so we could see some points there. The Vikings against the Lions free scoring. The Vikings are going to have to throw to keep up. So again, Hawkinson, he got some big numbers last week. Didn't quite get that touchdown, so hopefully we can jag one. And Derrick Henry, we've just spoke about that game. It'd be nice for him to get over, and I'd sort of help that overs on its way as well. So we're all set for a nice Christmas Eve, Christmas Day of NFL, and hopefully, as Joe says, we can recoup some of that money you've spent on presents.
A year to the week. Tag landed his famous touchdown treble, and the rugby league and our friends' world went crazy because I think from that point on they were all on it. Let's hope history repeats itself. It become a running tradition that he peaks around Christmas time, Bish. So let's have it year to the day. As always, you're on a good streak. Let's have another 2 or 3 or 3 out of 3 from you, Bish. Hopefully some of my big odds land, and I've got the comfortable one in Kelsey and Mahomes. And Tag, good luck to you, sir, but not in fantasy. Like, share, subscribe, do everything you can. We've got TikTok, YouTube Shorts. We've got obviously the YouTube channel. You're watching it. We've got Spotify. We've got all the channels. Give us a like. Give us a follow on Twitter. Give us a follow on Instagram. Our Instagram's got going. Give us a follow on everything and join the team. We want to hear your comments. We've got the fantasy next year. We've got the bets. We want to see your bets. Join in with us. Let's have it. Merry Christmas, everyone. Merry Christmas, Bish.
Merry Christmas. Yeah, all the socials are the Punt NFL. Nice and simple. And yeah, good luck to those in your fantasy playoffs.
Come on, Kyron Williams tonight. Let me wake up. Kyron Bish. Come on. You've got the Rams top on. Let's have a good week. I'm excited. I said Merry Christmas to all. See you soon.
Merry Christmas.